we all know the policy keeping Scientology working, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, what do you think you do to keep Scientology working? How do you see your responsibility on that? Like, how do you handle?
That's a good question. My own viewpoint is that there are levels of certainty as an auditor, and keeping Scientology working certainly touches on this with having the technology, knowing that it is correct. You know, in the church, it's very much a convoluted thing, and I've never really seen where it's fully covered and emphasized properly. But I would say this, and this is my own viewpoint, is that there are levels of certainty about the tech. And I would describe it this way. The first level is knowing that it exists. Okay, the second level is knowing and finding out through application that it works. Okay, now that is a valuable level, but it's far from the be-all and end-all. You will not be a great auditor until you take the time to study this for yourself, not just how to deliver a command or apply a technique, but understand the nature of a being, how the bank works, bank structure, how the mind works, how each process you're studying works, why it works. And then you won't miss the changes that are happening with your pre-clear. You know, you'll be giving them the full benefit out of it, and in your own sessions you'll get the full benefit out of it. The level above knowing that it works is knowing how and why it works. And that's where you make it your own. And that's how you make it your own. You don't make it your own simply by knowing that if I do what it says here, I will get results. That's a very valuable level. I don't mean to demean it. But where you want to get to with whatever you're doing, and that certainly is my standard, is to understand how and why it works. Not just wait for a floating needle on a statement that sounds like an end phenomenon. Because if you really understand this, you'll know when they got it, and you know when you got it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you than I am. Okay. All right, here's the last question. How do you see the future of Scientology? Where do you think we are all going to?
Well, you know, like Ron said, in keeping Scientology working in other places, basically, that depends on us. You know, it doesn't depend on the Church of Scientology. It doesn't depend on a generality like the free zone. It depends on auditors auditing. It's that simple. And I believe it would be just fine. I think that everybody who's trained on anything in Scientology, be it Book 1 Dianetics, New Era Dianetics, or just pick up Creation of Human Ability, my God, you will change somebody's existence with that book. You know, you don't need a check sheet, you know, and you don't need anybody's permission or approval, you know, or Book 1, Dianetics, Modern Science of Mental Health. As long as auditors have the interest and the courage and the willingness to audit, people will make case game. You know, I don't think in terms of clearing the planet. That's a slogan. You know, you audit the PC in front of you, and you audit them on the subject that they're interested in, what's real to them, period. And you do it knowing what you're doing, and you give them what they want. You give them what they're doing it for. In the early 60s, it was a model session that included establishing goals for the session. We all have goals. You know, very rarely do they necessarily coincide with the vague statements that are given as end phenomena on, for instance, certain OT levels, you know. And really people need to put a lot less attention on grade 3, grade 4, OT 6, OT 7, OT 12, OT 42. Forget the numbers and forget the levels. Think about what you want for yourself, what you want freedom from, and what you want freedom to do. Because that can be done. It can all be done. And it'll happen a lot quicker if you're focused on that and not some vague, you know, here's your next step, or here's your next level, or I want the bridge, you know. These are not bad goals, but they're not true individual goals, you know. So I think between a pre-clear and an auditor, whether you're seeking auditing or seeking to audit others, that you look at your very real goals. What stops you want to eliminate, what abilities you want to gain or regain, what you want to be able to be and do and have very specifically. There are thousands and thousands of processes, and the material's all there. Like I said, get any book, 8008, Creation of Human Ability, as I said. Whatever level you've been trained to, go do it. Just do it. You know, seek out people in the free zone if you want to get trained on a specific level. We're all here, you know, not hard to find.
Okay, if somebody wants to find you, then where do they go?
Well, one place would be on my website, Gateway to Answers. Not hard to find at all. Free zone auditors like myself and others can be looked up through International Free Zone Association, IFA. Basically, if you just type free zone into your web browser, you know, there are several ways that you'll see free zone auditors. And there's a lot of great auditors out there, you know, really are. As I'm concerned, you can't go wrong with almost anybody. We all care. That's why we're doing it. We're all doing it because we care, not because some higher up is telling us that we're worthless if we're not doing what they're telling us to do. In the free zone, when somebody audits you, they're not looking over their shoulder for an ethics chip or to get busted off of their post. Their attention is on you. There's a huge advantage in getting audited in the free zone. Your auditor's attention is on you and giving you case gain and nothing else. He doesn't have to report his well-done auditing hours. You know, he doesn't have to do an ethics condition based on how many hours he's done. He's not going to be crammed because he called floating needles, which were observably floating needles based on the PC's indicators and what he knows about FNs, and not some rote robotic description. You're so much safer out here. Really, you can't go wrong.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dexter.
All right.